What is up, guys? Welcome into a brand new video. Now today we are going to be discussing all the things that I think Big Ant got wrong with this game. Now I've played it for, I think I've got nearly a day's gameplay on the game since it came out on Thursday. There's a couple of things that are really annoying me. There's a lot of feedback that I'm getting from the community and things like that that aren't going as well as they necessarily should do. Before we do get into it, guys, if you could leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, it does massively help out the channel. To start off, I kind of wanted to go through some of the points that Big Ant used to kind of market the game. So for instance, the main thing that was talked about is what we got the dev diary video for, is the licensing. Now there was a lot that was raved about the licenses. To me, I don't think it matters as much. We had such a good kind of community download thing that we could use. I mean, on Cricket 22, I had every single franchise team, every single international team possible, which was fine. I was completely happy with having that option in the game because I could still use it in career. I could still do different things like that. I didn't need to have the teams licensed. And for most of the time and marketing to be spent on these licenses, I'm not really sure that it needed to be. I mean, for instance, like the Pakistan licensing is terrible. Like they don't even have the face scans. You still don't have any of all of the IPL teams. You don't have any of the county teams licensed. And just for me, it's not the perfect representation of what you want to see. It would be like FIFA releasing FIFA every year, and then you get every team apart from City, Arsenal, and United. It just kind of wouldn't make sense. And then you're missing out on like three of the big leagues. Like we still don't have South Africa, we still don't have Sri Lanka, we still don't have Bangladesh. There's still lots of licenses that we're missing. I understand that it costs money and they're not the biggest studio, but don't spend all of your time trying to get licensing if you're only going to do half a job with it. Is my problem that I have with them really pushing. We have these licenses. They only work if you play now. And it takes 30 seconds to download from the community because you've just ported the Cricket 22 community into the Cricket 24 game. So, for instance, it took me 30 seconds to download the full India side. I could download all of the IPL teams in 5 minutes. Like, it's really not that much of a big deal than being in the game. I would have rather than people flying out to scan faces and things like that, they would have actually spent the time on the gameplay. And do you know what? Even just changing the scoreboard. I mean, one of the biggest bugbears that I have on this game is simply the fact of they just haven't been bothered to change the scoreboard. Like, I really think that people would think that it's not the same game less, or it is the same game less, if they didn't have the same scoreboard. I think that's one of the biggest issues whenever I play the game, whether I play it on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, it doesn't matter. That's one of the main things that I get is it looks the same as Cricket 22. Now, another thing that Big Ant said that they were going to try and push is this brand new fielding system that they have. From what I've played and from what I can see, it doesn't look any different. Like, it really doesn't. If anything, Cricket 22 at the end didn't have that many bugs. Once they fixed the overthrows and everything like that, I'm getting more overthrows in this game. I'm getting players just sidestepping for no reason and not chasing after the ball. Apart from the fielder actually running to the boundary to chase the ball, I haven't seen anything different. Like the fielding does seem to be worse than it was on Cricket 22. Now, the kind of gameplay does feel slightly crisper, I think is probably the only way to put it, but it's still not perfect. It's still all the same animations as Cricket 22 was, and even worse, all the bats, every single player has the same batting style because that's a new glitch that came in. Like, there's only 6 or 7 to choose from. Can we not have everyone have a number 6 batting style? Is that so hard to ask someone to check it before launch and thought, I know it looks like everyone's got the same batting style, maybe we should have a look at that. So that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how that gets so far. I mean, graphically, there's a couple of things with hair, as you can kind of see in the gameplay in the background. There seems to be hair going everywhere, which is just annoying. It didn't happen in Cricket 22. There's only like 2 or 3 new animations that they've added to the game, which, okay, fine, it's nice to have them, but there's so many different styles of bowling, batting, everything else, and there just doesn't seem to be any customization. I mean, you look at games at like 2K, and you look at their like their jump shot creation and how in depth that is and things like that. Why can't that be not completely put into the game? Because I understand that it takes a lot of money and these studios are a lot bigger, but why can't we just have something a little bit more in depth rather than picking from 8 bowling styles and 6 batting styles? Like, surely we could have a bit more. I mean, there isn't the same 8 bowling actions for every single player that plays cricket. I mean, there's hundreds, there's probably thousands of different actions that come out from a bowler, and it can't be that hard to build into the game. It feels lazy, is my issue. Now, there was a lot of things. The problem is that there was a lot of things that were promised when the game was announced, that slowly we lost a lot of things off that list that was actually going to be coming to the game. So there was like 8 bullet points to start off with when the game was officially announced. By the time the game actually came out, I think we were down to 3. Now, one of the things that we were going to see some progressive stuff in career mode, which, I mean, I've only played a season, but I haven't seen it yet. There's no. I thought we were told that we could be a T20 specialist or a test match specialist or something like that. That hasn't happened. There doesn't seem to be any kind of new cutscenes, especially at the start of the game. I mean, the start of the game is basically exactly the same as it always has been. There isn't any kind of in-game currency that you could buy new bats. There doesn't seem to be a contract where you can sign up for different bat suppliers and things like that, and bat manufacturers and pads and sports drinks and things like that. It just doesn't seem to be that. It's going to be the same 3 things over and over again. And it just gets really tedious really quickly. And it just kind of moves on to my next point, is that there just doesn't seem to be any new content with the game. Like, so the only thing you can do now is play now and play tournaments and kind of against the computer. You can play a career mode, which I'm sure a lot of people are doing. At the start of every cricket game, the career mode is kind of what people go towards. It's very similar to how FIFA was before Ultimate Team came along. Or you can kind of play online, where there is absolutely no reason to play online because you don't gain anything. You can go up leaderboards, but they're not cross-play leaderboards. Not a lot of people play online, so there's long waiting times because there's no incentive to play online. We were promised this pro team when the game was announced, and it was meant to make the game so much more playable and repeatable, but it's completely been forgotten about. I mean, I will tweet Big Ant and ask, can we know what's happening with Pro Team? There's a few people that have asked about Pro Team, and it is radio silence. We don't hear anything. Which, okay, fine, if you don't respond to people, but people are asking questions about the game. People want to play the game. You're not going to respond to them. It just doesn't make any sense. That there's just radio silence of something that you promised in the game 6 months ago. We then come to the game releasing, and half the features aren't there that you promised 6 months ago. If you say, we haven't quite got round to this yet, but it's going to come out in 3 months' time, then people can say, okay, that's fine. But I'll upload a TikTok video and I'll have 4 comments and be like, oh, how's the Ultimate Team on it? And I'll be like, oh, well, they didn't add it. And then they'll be like, well, yeah, but you said there was going to be Ultimate Team in it. I was like, well, yeah, that's because Big Ant said that they were going to be Ultimate Team. But they never released it and they never said anything about it. I know they've said a few things about AFL, but we have absolutely no idea where Cricket 24 Pro Team is ever going to come out, there is ever going to be in the game, or anything we are going to get in the future. We don't know if Big 11's coming back. At this point, I'll take Big 11 back. And I didn't like Big 11 particularly, but at least it gave me something to play online and gave this game a little bit more longevity than the 2 weeks that it currently has. And that's it. I mean, online, there's nothing to do online. We just need more content around the game. You need to add sort of scenarios and things like that. And if they're not going to, then it is what it is. The game will sell poorly because everyone thinks it's the same as Cricket 22. the people that do buy Cricket 24 aren't going to play it for very long. Fair enough if you want to say, okay, well, I've got your 40, 50 quid. I'm not that bothered anymore, then that's fine. But the way the games are going is microtransactions are king. And if you want people to keep playing the game, then you have to give them incentives to play the game and make them spend money on microtransactions. If you made money on microtransactions, maybe you could make a better cricket game in Cricket 26. Because at the moment, it's poor. It's exactly the same as last game. It feels slightly smoother, but at the end of the day, it is very, very, very similar to Cricket 22. And I've tried to be as positive as I possibly can here. But all it is a Cricket 22 reskin with a few more glitches thrown in. And I'm fed up with it. I was really excited about this game coming out, and it's just been a bit of a disappointment. And I'm just fed up of people saying to me, well, it's just exactly the same as last year. And I try to say, well, no, I'm not 100% sure. Like, it does feel a little bit different. It does feel a little bit different, but not enough. It's not enough of a change. And it would be absolutely fine if we got exactly the same game as Cricket 22 with just more content. That's fine. If you spent the whole 2 years building content and making the game's longevity longer and giving people more stuff to do, then that's fine. That's a lot what like FIFA does, which sells incredibly well. But what you've done is you've put less content into the game, spent all your time banging on about licenses, and it's still the same game. It doesn't make any sense to me. But that is going to be my rant over. But guys, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, comment down below what you think of the game, if you like it, if you don't like it, if you think it's the same as Cricket 22, if you still got Cricket 22 and you're thinking about buying Cricket 24, what you've thought of the reviews and different videos and what you've seen. I'd really like to kind of get everyone's feedback on this, but subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers!